Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here live in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to address whatever topics might be important to you and whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship, you can discuss marriage, divorce, you can discuss raising children, blending families, dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. Just know that it is all important to God, and God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here in the FijiWater.com sponsored studio every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just water. This is Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. And right now, today is, I believe, going to be the last day that you can receive 33% off on an annual order with Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. So you don't want to miss that. Go to FijiWater.com, place your order, and if you have any questions, you can follow up with them by email or by phone at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at New Life Ministries International.com and New Life International CDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I'm going to remind all of our listeners and viewers, first of all, we are Facebook Live, we're YouTube Live, we're RadioFreeNetwork.com live. You can go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio, the drop box will appear, click on the New Life link, and every broadcast will be available to you. And I'm going to remind everyone that I know we're in November, but on Thursday of this week, which actually will take us into the month of December. You don't want to miss this. Make sure you tune in to be with us as on Thursday, December 2nd, when our monthly contributor, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist Rebecca Buva, will be, BeccaTheDietitian.com, will be with us right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, to address all of your questions that you might have concerning whatever topic, and she will provide us with information that will enhance our health and wellness. She will certainly provide us with recipes. She provides us with information regarding all of our numbers and everything that we could possibly need to enhance our health and wellness. So you don't want to miss this. Make sure you mark your calendar for December the 2nd, as always, the first Thursday of every month. With us live in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com, will be here, right here with us, live in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are struggling with family members who are not vaccinated and refuse to wear masks. And there are only a few who refuse in your family. However, the holiday made you more conscious of this, and it is difficult for you to enjoy your family time due to their decisions. So, the quick response to this is, why are you still struggling? You're vaccinated. You are vaccinated with the first 2 doses of the vaccine. You haven't had your booster yet, but that time will come. You understand the importance of still wearing masks. This is a very interesting subject for many families and many individuals. But you have to ask yourself, why are you still struggling with this? Because as I indicated, you are vaccinated. You are wearing a mask. You know that there's going to be people that just refuse to wear masks. And the few people that you mentioned are young adults in your family who qualify. They're not the smaller children who are going to school but still not vaccinated. You're talking about young adults, grown adults, who have made a decision that they don't want to be masked and they don't want to get vaccinated. Okay. That's their choice. And whatever those consequences may look like long term, that's part of our choice. But the reality is this. First and foremost, if you know that they're not going to be vaccinated and they're not going to wear masks, one thing that we have determined is that the vaccine, the vaccine doesn't prevent people from catching COVID. It makes your immune system more effective to fight off the possibilities of catching COVID. And then if you do contract the virus, if you contract COVID, it will, in every case that's been studied and that I've read about, it has prevented death. So because it gives your immune system the ability to fight it off. So even though you may become ill, you won't die. So we're going to work with the science here. And the secondary fact to that is that that's a decision they've made that they'll live with. As far as the masking is concerned, listen, I saw a diagram of this, and here's what it looks like. If no one wears a mask and you're together, then you're exchanging the viral possibilities of contracting the virus. However, if one of you if you're wearing a mask and someone else is not wearing it, you are being hopefully protected from what might be spread from the viral of their communication. And I hope I'm articulating this in a way that everyone can grab onto it. So what you have is one person being potentially protected. The other party is not, but they're being protected from you because you're wearing a mask. You're just not being protected from them because they're not wearing it. When both parties are wearing masks, then the contagion spreading is very unlikely because it goes mostly viral. We found that social distancing had some impact because we didn't know what we were dealing with. Those dynamics have changed a bit because once you're vaccinated and if you're wearing masks, you can have contact with others. We went from 6 feet to 3 feet, finding out that, we were less susceptible even at 3 feet. And then after being vaccinated, we were able to have contact with one another again. And what I'm basically saying is, enjoy your family because you're vaccinated. And all of those who are in your family, enjoy them because they're vaccinated. The potential of you being protected is very likely, even though there's a few people who aren't being vaccinated and aren't wearing masks. One of the things that I read an article on Friday, and one of the things that it shared is that with the reason that these mutations, these additional viruses that are being spread is because the virus mutates itself when people are not being vaccinated. So we've the science is telling us that that's how these additional outbreaks are occurring, because until more people are vaccinated, we're gonna see these new strands being mutated. But once again, they're saying the vaccine will protect us from those also. So there's still a lot of science to be determined about all of this, but we realize that there are certain things that we can do to protect ourselves and our loved ones, and for the good of humanity. So what I'm really saying to you is, it's okay to encourage them to be vaccinated. It's okay to encourage them to wear masks. But because you're vaccinated, don't allow that to keep you from enjoying your family. Because we want to get back to not just a semblance of normalcy, we want to get back to whatever our new normalcy is going to become. We want to get to that place, I should say. And I get it, you're struggling with it because you feel that it's irresponsible that people aren't being vaccinated and aren't wearing masks, but everyone's got a choice in this. And whatever your choice is, you're going to have to live with the results of that choice. So what I'm essentially saying, and this is for all of our listeners and viewers, it's no longer necessary for us to be angry with one another about not being vaccinated or wearing masks, or about being vaccinated and not wearing masks. Or I should have reversed that. Those who are not vaccinated and not wearing masks, that's their choice. Those who are vaccinated and are wearing masks, that's their choice. And I will say I'm vaccinated and I wear a mask because I understand the science that has been presented thus far. At the same time, I realize that there's no reason for people to be angry with one another any longer. There's really no reason for it. And because it's just become now it has become a point of contention. It was originally politicized, and then it became just a point of human contention, because why do I have to do it and you're not willing to do it? There's no longer any need for that. And the reason is because if you're vaccinated and you're wearing masks, you're going to be protected as far as the science has provided information. If you're not vaccinated and you're not wearing a mask, you're subjected to the possibility of being contaminated with coronavirus. It's just that simple. So what I'm really encouraging you, don't struggle any longer with this. It has become what it has become, and those of us who have made our decisions on how we're going, and people's decisions are changing. So you just don't know what that's going to look like, and we just have to allow it to run its course now at this point. Because it has become what it has become. And the rest of us, for all of us, I should say, we just have to live with our choices. That's just the bottom line. There's power in choice. There's power in having choice. And as much as we recognize that this was a humanity issue, because this was not just an illness that was here in our own country. This was a global pandemic. We just have to recognize that it would eventually, it will resolve itself if we take the necessary steps to do our part, to do what we can to make this world a better place. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you finally realized that your marriage is dysfunctional. You and your spouse do not agree on much of anything. You each have your own method of doing things, and it always ends with an argument. So let me take you down this road. First of all, the Bible tells us, how can two walk together unless they agree? Now, sometimes we have to agree to disagree, but that's still an agreement. That's walking together in agreement. But that's not all the time. That's not, agreeing to disagree is not always the practical thing to do. Now, I'm a firm believer in agreeing to disagree, but I also understand that at some point in time, if you just agree to disagree, it's going to always end in a disagreement, which then will lead to an argument. So you're going to have to find a common ground. This isn't new. And the reason this isn't new is because, first of all, there's nothing new under the sun. But second of all, the Bible tells us to be not unequally yoked. So you really can't justify the dysfunction that you're having in your marriage by saying that you just have two different methods of doing things, because that's one of the reasons that we're encouraging everyone to date differently now. We're encouraging everyone to date with a purpose, the right way. And the way that we do that is having all these conversations prior to getting married. How are we going to make a good decision, one that we can live with as a unit, not as an individual? Is that good enough for me, but it doesn't take into consideration is it good for my spouse? So you've got to really understand your methodology about building a great quality of life, building and developing a great quality of life. And you've got to make certain that you have one methodology to get to that end. That just requires you to be able to have a conversation and say, okay, we're going to do this way at this time because it's the most effective and the most efficient way to do it. See, that's the problem that we run into as couples, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in a marriage. The problem is that we allow our emotions to become part of the equation. That is never going to allow us to be most effective. The emotions can't dictate what's good for your great quality of life. Emotions are never going to dictate that. We have to determine what's most effective, and then we have to determine the most efficient way of getting there, of achieving the goal. Once again, and which is going to take me into the next communication, so I'm going to be real focused on your communication and say, we have to set goals and develop an implementation strategy that will allow us to pursue the goal with the best method. And sometimes the best method isn't your own. It's maybe the concept that you have, but your spouse may be able to give you a better suggestion or recommendation that's going to allow you to be not only effective, but to be efficient. And that's what we want to accomplish. That's how we have a successful marriage long term. That's how we build and develop a great quality of life. That's how we experience the fullness of God, and that's how we then maximize the fullness of God in all of our lives. So we have to recognize the importance of our developed methodology. You know, we can't just vacillate. We can't just, go wherever the wind tosses us. We have to really determine that we've got the right methodology and that we can develop an implementation strategy that will allow us to walk in agreement and achieve the goals we desire to achieve. And an argument's never going to do that. An argument is never going to allow you, watch this, to achieve the goals that you desire to achieve. An argument is a hindrance to accomplishing goals. So you don't want to go down that lane. You don't want to drive in that lane. You want to stay to the right, go the speed limit, and go with the flow of the traffic without exceeding the speed limit. And the reason I'm using that analogy is because part of what your dysfunction is that you want to go at a high rate of speed, and your husband is saying, let's take our time and do this at an appropriate period of time. And your thought process is, if we do it now, we'll get it done. That's nice, but is it the most effective method? Is it the most efficient method? And then because you go anyway, your husband then confronts, and I'll use that word, confronts you about going ahead without him. And then that becomes an argument because now you have to defend yourself, and not physically defend yourself, but verbally defend yourself, pardon me. So you've got to recognize that it's not healthy for your marriage. Forget about dysfunction, because dysfunction you can minimize or eliminate. There are methods to do that. What you want to do is you want to get to a place where you can walk in agreement so that you can have peace that will allow you to accomplish so much more. And let me say this to all of our listeners and viewers. When you can find the place, that place of peace, when you can find that place of peace, and it would take me a whole sermon to talk about what that looks like for you, because it's wrapped up in joy and love. But when you find peace, you're going to find a better quality of life. When you can get to that place of peace, it's perfect peace. See, there's a couple of levels of peace. There's peace, then there's peace that surpasses all understanding, and then there's perfect peace. And I'll get to that a little more at another day. But what you need to find is the method to walk in agreement so that you can walk in peace and accomplish so much more. Eliminate the dysfunction and focus on walking in agreement. And you'll begin to build and develop a much greater quality of life. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything that a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. I'm in Charles Tyrwhitt Attire today. If you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And right now, if you order shirts from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com, you can receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99. That's an amazing deal. 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99 at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And the White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on 5th Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from the White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your adult children are finally setting goals for themselves. However, you want to know what you can do to ensure they remain on track, because you have been talking to them about setting goals throughout their lifetime, and they're now just starting to get it. They're just starting to set goals, and you want to know, how do you keep them on track and when you know that they're easily distracted? So listen, here's what's really interesting. There's a whole list of information that I could share with you that, is biblically based, and, it's been really on my spirit lately, but I'm going to really give this to you from a personal and professional perspective, and that is, just continue to set goals for yourself. Lead by example, because as we're people of the baby boomer generation, we spend a lot of time setting goals for ourselves so that we could get to a place of success. At least we should have been. If we're really being prudent, we really should have been doing that. Setting goals, continue, and we shouldn't stop setting goals. So continue setting goals for yourself and your family, and then share them with your family. Share the goals you set for yourself. It will inspire them. Let them see you keep working to accomplish the goals. It will inspire them. It will inspire them to go to another level. Listen, we're training them up continuously in the way they should go, and when they grow old, they won't depart from it. So, they might not get it right now. Now, the good news is they're starting to set goals for themselves, because that's real important. And the goals can't just be, I want to bling. The goals just can't be, I want to turn up. The goals, they've got to set some personal and professional goals for themselves so that they can develop a plan, and they'll have a plan to work. So it's real important that they're now setting goals. The only way you're going to keep them from being distracted long term, they may have some distractions along the way, but the only way you're going to keep them from being distracted is by demonstrating to them that you're setting goals for yourself even at this age, and that you are working to accomplish those goals. Lead by example. Continue to lead by example, and you'll find that your children will get to the place that God has appointed for their lives. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses